Alright, I'll get a comms check in 5. Y'all hear me? Check. Mars bar, Coors Light, Skittles.
On Eagle plane.
It sure is a hot one. What's going on, guys? I'm talking about radios today. Digital radio, encrypted radio, all that good stuff. Whew. Holy crap, man. Today's one of those days where there's a lot of breaks. I want to talk about the Ailunce, whatever, HD2. Of course, I've got mine all tactical like, and we hide the keypad and stuff down in here, so we don't have to worry about that. Now, I'm not the best radio guy. I was an RTO in the Army, so I know how to push buttons, I know how to program stuff. Luckily, this uses a similar version of Chirp. It's a bummer it does not use Chirp. Then you could program your radios with everything else. But it's a very similar program, and because it's digital, you're gonna have a lot more features, all right? So the programming is gonna take a little bit more learning, a little more education. But you know, if this dumb grunt can figure it out, I think all of you guys can. So I just wanna talk about the benefits to this type of radio and what I am enjoying so far. All right, so first of all, but I can put my logo in there on the welcome screen. That's cool as hell. Now let's talk about the encryption. So they have a 256 encryption, but the 256, if you open up your program, you will just see a number series. All right, that's kind of your key. I can't get into the jargon because honestly, I don't understand it too well. The benefit to this is instead of buying like the very expensive encrypted Motorola radios where you have to get a key, the company owns the key. Theirs just has their own built into the program, okay? So I've noticed when I pull up my program, I can actually change digits in there. And if you're programming multiple radios from your same program on your computer, you can basically control all those digits. And that's pretty cool. So you've got the standard factory setting, how the radio comes and how the computer program comes, and then you can just screw around with the digits and kind of make your own, right? So that's how I understand it, and it seems to work. I've played with the numbers and put them in multiple radios, and we've been able to talk. So if somebody has an RDF and they're listening, like you might have seen Jared in the SERE challenge doing that to us, he might be able to pick up like a quick blurp, but he's not going to be able to hear what you're saying. He's not going to be able to tune to that frequency and listen in. Because as you can see, when somebody is talking on, let's say 430 megahertz, and they're using their digital encryption, it's either going to just show that somebody's transmitting, but you're not going to hear anything, or you'll hear like this. You know, if people don't have your key, they can find your frequency, but there's no way they can listen in, all right? Maybe the government secret squirrel guys have figured out how to crack that stuff, but you know, your average Joe comms guy, he ain't doing that. Okay, so that is cool. Another thing that is cool, so we have our homestead frequencies, and we have frequencies we share with our neighbors. So I can leave it on our HQ channel, and I can dual monitor. That's another benefit. You got the dual monitor. Like my neighbors talking on our standard HQ channel, at least I hear their traffic. So then I know I got to pull out my radio, unlock it, push a couple buttons, the up and down arrows, and I'm right onto the standard open net that I can talk to them with. That's kind of cool. Another benefit to this radio, so you've got your push to talk, and you've got these two extra buttons. Okay, so the way it comes, as usual, one of them is an FM radio. And you know, some of the Baofengs I have, I'll put on a country station or the local rock station just to have some music when I'm working. But generally, I don't use that when I'm out and about, all right, unless we're hanging out having some beers. But what I really like is you can change what these buttons do. So I haven't been able to find something like that with the standard UV5R. And what bugs me about that is even though you've got the radio locked and you can't push on the keypad, that freaking radio button will still be pushed. All right, that is a bummer. Not the case with this. Okay, so I guess we could call this a real radio, like people yell at me about. So the lock function on this, you can set it to where it locks, and the only thing you can mess with is your push to talk, which for me is going to be this one. This one's not going to work, and neither is the extra one. And you're also not going to be able to turn your frequency knob and mess with your frequencies while the radio is locked. Another thing about these buttons, you can do a dual monitor, but you can also do a dual PTT. That is cool. This one is always on A for me, and then if I want to talk on my B frequency, I just need to unlock it, and I've got this second one right there. Okay, so if we're trying to dual monitor and talk to multiple frequencies, you're gonna have to pull this thing in and out anyway, you know, unless you've got a real 152, you're not gonna have a little keypad here to play with stuff. Kind of a bummer. Somebody will probably figure something like that out one day. For me, that is a major benefit, being able to lock the keypad and everything, and including this push to talk. You see, that does nothing. So I can turn this on, set it to my A channel, the main one we're going to be using, lock it, throw it in this pocket, and I don't have to worry about buttons being pushed and accidentally keying up and all that. And then I've got this one right here. And yes, their hand mics are actually pretty dang rugged. This one is held up under some serious abuse. And you've got your standard headphone jack right there, so I'll use my earmuffs when I'm on the quad, so I can talk while I'm driving. If somebody's transmitting while I'm driving, I can hear exactly what they're saying, respond to them. When I get off, if I still want to be stealthy, I can plug in my mini earbud that goes right here, and now I've got traffic in my ear, and boom, we're talking. If I'm just out and about like this, and I don't really care about being stealthy and all that, we're using this. Piece of cake. So the HD2 does come with a Bluetooth headset. It basically looks like the old school Bluetooth headset people would walk around with. It does work. As soon as I turned mine on and turned Bluetooth on the radio, they paired, and it was one button push, and I was transmitting. Those kind of earbuds were never comfortable to me, and I'm not sure about the impedance you're going to get with those. There's a little bit of delay, and I just didn't really like that feature. However, you know, the smaller earbud cables wear out, you lose them. I do have my Bluetooth headset on standby, so that if something goes wrong with my wired in earbud, but I still want to have something in ear, I can always just grab my Bluetooth one, keep it on my kit somewhere, and then when I get out, at least I've got two ways to have a more stealthy radio comm situation. The emergency key is not on the side where people accidentally hold it down in their pockets and you can't lock those. This one is up here, so it's a little bit harder to accidentally push. And again, while the radio is locked, we're not setting off the alarm. So I love that fact that you can totally lock the freaking thing. So the only thing that's working is my push to talk up here. That's important, all right, because you might see in the SERE challenge, we got guys crawling around in the woods when we're out here doing training and stuff. The Baofangs are pretty much the loner radios, because I don't care if somebody loses a $15 piece of crap. But at the same time, you know, guys are trying to be stealthy. We're creeping through the woods, and the SERE challenge guys are low crawling a whole bunch and going up and over terrain and everything, and they usually have to turn their radio off because they're accidentally turning on the stupid LED light. They're accidentally keying that emergency, you know, beacon thing, and they're almost always hitting the freaking FM radio button. That's a no-go if we're talking about stealth. All right, so I got mine for $2.99, and it came with everything. You know, you got I took the clip off so I could fit it in my pouch. You get the Bluetooth headset, you get the little freaking, you know, lanyard and all that. And what's very cool, all right, so it does have an IP rating, so it's water resistance. They're saying you can drop it into a bucket of water. Okay, fine. I'm going to say it's not going to be fully waterproof forever, because it is a C charger. That is awesome, USB-C. It's about damn time we can get rid of those stupid box freaking proprietary chargers. But because your charging port is right there and it's open, that's going to limit the waterproofness. Okay, so I've had this one in the rain. I've dropped it in the water to do the test. Works fine. But, you know, if we're doing some water fording or swimming, or, you know, it's just pissing down nonstop, I'm going to be worried about that. You can't always tape that up, though, and improve that. So, I don't know. My only complaint, and it's probably a silly one, is that to hook it up and program it, I've got to get out my screwdriver, undo this, and plug in their programming cable because it goes here. You know, my question is, if we've got USB-C, why can't we just program it with the USB-C? Silly complaint, but, you know, USB-C can do a lot more than people think, so I wish we could program it that way. And it is rugged. I've dropped this thing several times. You see how I got it here. I mean, I haven't destroyed the cable. I've, you know, my hand mic has fallen off plenty of times because I'm doing stupid stuff, and yeah, no problems, man. So the water resistance and the ruggedness is on point. And so, you know, overall for the price, I'm liking it. And I'm liking that a dummy like me can just push a couple buttons on the computer and we've got digital encryption. Of course, if you've seen my Redneck ComSec video, you know that we're always talking in code anyway. Okay, but the digital encryption just gives you a little bit of extra security so you can get some transmissions out. With that being said, this does GPS, it'll receive it and it'll send it to whoever you're talking to. My problem is you can't change it to MGRS. Okay, so that's kind of useless to me. Everything I'm using is MGRS, everything we've worked with is MGRS. So sending Latin long to somebody doesn't help. All right, so I shut it off to save battery. And then one more very cool feature, okay? When you are in digital mode, you can send text messages. That is badass. And so, as you've seen, if you're actually transmitting and somebody's listening on an open freak, they're either just going to hear garbage noise or a couple little, you know, dots like Morse code or something. When you send a text message, it's going to be almost nothing coming across those standard radios. So that's an extra layer of security. You've got your digital comm, so you can talk using code words and stuff. But, you know, if you just need to get on, like, hey, what's your location, or I am located here, send that text message. You can do pre-loaded, like pre-saved text messages. Go find it, hit send, boom. The only problem with the text messages is you have to be within range to talk to them, like guaranteed. So it's not like a cell phone where it's going to keep trying until you're getting reception, because this doesn't know what the other radio is. Okay, so you hit send on that text message and it just goes out to that group, whatever group you've got it set it to. I hit all because we're the only people using these on these digital encryptions that I got. All right, so there's been plenty of times where I've sent out a text message and I wasn't within actual range and they never got it. All right, so that's something to be considering. So you see how I get it in there? It is so cool to be able to lock everything and I don't even have to worry about transmitting on accident or setting off alarms or freaking FM radio playing. And yeah, there we go. I might do a deeper rundown on this and get into the nitty-gritty with y'all, but you know, I'm sure there's some actual radio dudes who they've probably already done that. All right, so if not, we're gonna bug Jared from 2 Alpha Solutions. I'll let him borrow one if I have to. We're gonna make him do it because he's the real comms dude. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.